Greetings and welcome back to my channel.
Time for an update. So before we get into the video, I just want to show y'all what things are looking like for me right now. If you are new to my channel, I am currently 10 months post-op of a full abdominoplasty, well, a full tummy tuck with muscle repair and liposuction of the lower flanks, and also a brand new belly button. And for those of you that have not seen my previous videos, I'm going to go ahead and throw in a side-by-side of what I looked like before my procedure. And this is what I look like after my procedure. As you can see, everything looks good and all nice and flat. And this is what your girl is looking like as of right now. This is what my scar is looking like currently. I'm going to do a separate video on the healing of my scar, so be looking forward to that. So let's just go ahead and get into the video.
There was a couple of questions in some of the comment sections on my videos that asked me, how much time did I take off work for my tummy tuck procedure? When did I actually return back to work after my procedure? How did I feel once I actually got back to work after my procedure? And what advice would I give now that I have been through it? Would I actually take that same amount of time off, or would I take off more, or would I take off less? So regarding how much time I actually took off for my tummy tuck procedure, I took off a total of 3 weeks. So I had my procedure on May 1st, 2019, and I returned back to work May 23rd-ish, 2019. So that's roughly what, 3 weeks? I know it was about 3 weeks and a couple of days when I returned back to work. Now, I'm just supposed to be truthful with you guys. Knowing what I know now that I have been through it, I wish I would have taken off a lot more time than 3 weeks. And let me tell you why, okay? A tummy tuck procedure with muscle repair and liposuction, it's a lot on your body. Depending on what you do for work, would basically determine how much time you actually need to take off. And being that I work in patient care at the hospital in the nursing field, I feel like I should have took off way more than 3 weeks. And now that I have done it, if I was to do it over again, I would take off a total of 6 weeks. 6 whole weeks is how long I would actually take off for a full tummy tuck procedure. 3 weeks is not enough time, especially when you work in total patient care. I was miserable when I returned back to work within a short time of just 3 weeks. I thought I was going to be okay, but I was not. If you have a job that's more like a secretarial type desk job, maybe you don't need 6 weeks off, but in all reality, to be honest with you guys, I still would tell anybody that asks me, no matter what their job title is or what they do, whether it's moving around a lot or sitting at your desk, I still would say take a total of 6 whole weeks off to recover from a full tummy tuck procedure. I was miserable when I returned back to work. I thought 3 weeks would be enough time. I did not do the I did do proper research of how much time I should take off. I just did not apply what I should have applied when recovering. I think it's because I felt so good afterwards. Like a week post-op, I felt really good. Like I was still hunched over a little bit, but not a lot. So let me tell you why I was miserable. I do hands-on patient care for 12 hours. I work 12-hour shifts, 3 days a week. And I work my 3 days back to back. So I work 3 and then I'm off for 4. Doing those 3 days in a row, back-to-back 12-hour shifts, returning back to work from a full tummy tuck procedure was a disaster for me. And I would not recommend anybody to only take off 3 weeks. It's just not enough time for your body to properly be in alignment with going back to work, no matter what type of job you have. If somebody was to ask me and say, how much time do you think I should take off work for a full tummy tuck procedure? I would immediately tell them, honey, take a full 6 weeks off to recover from that procedure, okay? If your job offers you FMLA, take it. My job do offer FMLA, and I did file my FMLA, but let me tell you where my mistakes were so that you do not make the same mistakes. FMLA gives you a total of 12 weeks off of work and still can return back to work and have your job in your same position and your same pay, okay? FMLA is for those who need to take off for a procedure, a surgery, or to take care of a sick family member, a sick child, anything of that nature, you can use your FMLA. Number 1, file your FMLA on time. Do not wait until you actually have the procedure already and then go and try to file your FMLA a day after. You need to file your FMLA at least 2 weeks before your procedure is actually going to be done. So that way, by the time you have your procedure, everything is set in stone of how long you're going to be gone, what your requirements are when you actually return back to work. Number 2, when you fill out your FMLA, discuss with your surgeon exactly how long you're going to be off, and make sure you tell your surgeon to specify what requirements that you're going to be on once you return back to work. Another mistake I made, I did not specify that when I returned back to work only after 3 weeks that I was going to be on light duty. That was my mistake. And that was a huge mistake. I went back after 3 weeks and doing exactly what I normally do at work with hands-on patient care for 12 hours, lifting, pushing, pulling, whatever it is you got to do to help the patient. Honey, and it was a disaster. By the time I got off work from 12 hours, I was so swollen and so bloated, like I could barely walk, and I was miserable and in pain. You want to specify your terms of returning back to work. Now, I only used 3 weeks of my FMLA. Stupid. I know y'all stupid. I was going into this not having it done before. So that's why I'm making these videos, to give y'all a little bit of advice, because I did some things that probably should have been done better or differently. And so for the next person, so y'all don't have to go through that. So y'all can have a list of things that you can look at and go over, and so you can make sure you dot all your I's and cross all your T's before you actually have this procedure done. You have to have things set in stone, okay? When I applied for my FMLA, I did not specify that I wanted to use the whole entire 12 weeks of FMLA. I could have, but I only used 3 weeks. I returned back in 3 weeks. Ladies, don't do that. I would recommend that you use the entire 12 weeks of your FMLA to recover. So that would mean if I was to do this again, I would use the entire 12 weeks. I would be home completely from work for the first 6 weeks. And then for the next 6 weeks, I would return back to work, but I would return on light duty, meaning that I wasn't doing my full work requirements when I got back to work. I could be doing something chill like secretarial work or something like that. So that's what I would do next time. I definitely would not just take off 3 weeks. Like, that was the stupidest thing I could have ever done. But it's done, it's over. I am at 10 months post-op, but that's why I'm making this video, so that you guys can be aware of the pros and the cons when having a procedure and then having to return back to work. So I know there are some people whose job do not offer FMLA, or there's also some people who cannot afford to take off anything longer than 3 weeks. And for the people that can't, this is what I would suggest, because it's very important. I mean, you can go back to work within 2-3 weeks, but you're going to be miserable. So if your job does not offer FMLA, or you cannot afford to take off longer than 3 weeks, at least make sure when you guys are getting ready for to have these cosmetic procedures done or surgeries done, make sure that you plan ahead. Like, if your job offer PTO, build up your PTO for at least a good 6 months or a good year before you actually have your procedure done. So that way you can use your PTO hours to cover some of the time that you're going to be taking off work. So that way you just won't be losing out on a whole bunch of pay. You know what I mean? That's an option. If you can't afford to take off more than 3 weeks, then you just can't afford it. But I would advise that you do, because like I said, it's very essential that you do. And the fact that I did, and I learned a very valuable lesson, that I need to give my body what it needs to actually heal properly. I healed fine. I just healed miserably because I went back to work too soon and did not have my paperwork in order, as far as me going back on light duty instead of going right back and hitting the floor running. You know what I mean? Like, that was too much. Let's recap. Take off a total of 6 weeks. When you return back to work within them 6 weeks, return back on light duty for another 6 weeks. So that is a total of 12 weeks that you're taking off to recover. The first 6 weeks, you're going to be recovering at home. The second 6 weeks, you're going to be back at work, but you're going to be back on light duty. Number 2, make sure you have your FMLA filled out and filed and approved at least 2 weeks before your procedure is due. So that way you will have everything set in stone and you don't have to worry about anything. That is my advice for that. So that is all I have for y'all in this video today. And I hope to see y'all in my very next upload.